every character in this book is a composite of people I know. I didn't make anything up. Um, you know, I understand that many people conflate racism with poverty in the sense that while racism is really sort of ground zero for poverty, particularly for Black and brown people, it does not mean that because you have achieved a certain socioeconomic status or a certain educational level that you won't experience racism. And a lot of people think that. A lot of people think if I can just get to this level. But we continue to see that even the rich and famous, when you are Black and brown, experience racism, right? Even when, you know, we see that somebody like Serena Williams still experiences the Black maternal health crisis. We see that, you know, we've seen, you know, famous athletes, you know, thrown to the ground by police. It doesn't matter. And so, you know, I understand why Lisa in particular feels as though she really does, you know, she has evolved past racism. Donovan, so while a lot of people have a lot of, I know, a lot of strong emotions about Donovan, you know, like I get so many emails about like this guy. But there is something that as Black people we have to figure out, and that is we come from a big diaspora, right? There are Caribbean Black people, African American Black people, Latin American Black people, African Black people. And we haven't figured out yet across our diaspora that we are one. It doesn't matter, you know, where we come from. And so, because if you come as an immigrant and you keep your mouth shut and you walk down the street, you are Black. As it, you are Black. And so Donovan, you know, like many of us from the Caribbean, I'm from the Caribbean, like many of us from the Caribbean, we were raised on the export of American racism. We saw it on our televisions. We, you know, we listen to music and watch shows, but we get the message very clearly outside of this country that Black people are inferior. But because we don't have necessarily a frame of reference to change that, many of us come to this country carrying all of those beliefs and those stereotypes. And so Donovan was very much like that. But to add insult to injury, Donovan also represents something that happens for a lot of immigrants, which is that very often we will leave our children behind to come and make a better life. And we'll live here for a long time, and we will, you know, and it'll take a while for us to go and get those children, right? Because we have to get established. And sometimes in the course of doing that, we have other children, we might get married. And so when those children are finally brought, and this is a common story, there's a lot of anger. There's a lot of big sense of abandonment. And so Donovan was experiencing that. I wanted to tell that story because I don't know if Americans really understand how families have to fracture and split in order for people to come to this country to make a better life. I think sometimes I hear this narrative that people just come here and, you know, it's just the streets are paved with gold and everything's better for you. But what the part of the story that doesn't often get told are the people who are left behind. And so Donovan comes with all that anger. I know so many people who are angry like that, you know? And so the way he makes himself feel better is by aligning himself with his white friends and colleagues, which means that he then has to align himself against his family and Black people who are around him.